Hello Manhwa Readers, welcome back. This time recommendation will be talking about YAOI Triangle Love with Bdsm on top. Some have a lot of spicy scene and some are less spicy. Remember, this list based on my personal opinion, so you don't have to fully agree with it. And without further ado, let's dive into the topic. In position number 10 we have Obscura. Two men who were in love for years but broke up because Jung-hoon wanted to end things. Kang-woo want to get back together but Jung-hoon refuses. Meanwhile, Gyute, the owner of the studio where they both work at, is only affectionate towards Jung-han, an ex-boyfriend and a suspicious dad. Is it possible? Can Jung-hoon ever be happy? The story is really well developed. I'm in love with the character design and the art. The overall plot is interesting to read as it slowly unfolds. Not to mention that the character development and their complexity is very well planned. Really worth reading. In position number 9 we have Private Lesson. Story about Hajun has been cruising on Eunwoo ever since they start college together. But he hasn't had any opportunities to get close with him. At least they have a class together this semester. A lecture talk by the popular professor So Jo-hyuk. Hours after the first class, Hajun remembers he left his assignment in the classroom. Upon reaching the lecture hall, he becomes witness and accomplice to a series of private lessons. Jo-hyuk is giving Eunwoo a lesson that unless his own deepest riskiest desire. This is for all the Bdsm fans. If you are not, it's something worth reading when you feel like being entertained. Overall, this was a good read. The story kinda slow though, and this manhwa might be some people's cup of tea and some are not. Next, we have Pheromone Phobia. Jung-ho is a beta who lives with his alpha friend Young-won. They have maintained a close friendship for years now, and everything seems fine until Hayeon, the newly hired alpha at Jung-ho's office, brings a crucial fact to Jung-ho's attention. Young-won has been secretly showering Jung-ho with his pheromone to keep other alphas and omegas away. As the truth in the friendship cracks and reveals hidden deep underneath, Jung-ho must navigate his rapidly changing relationship with Young-won, which is going to be infinitely harder with Hayeon entering the picture. The story is so far quite smooth, no major rushing into things, no instant sex scene, just keeping things slow and steady. I can't say too much since this one just started, however, I can say it's starting out fairly strong. I look forward to seeing what happened and how things will end in the future. If you're looking for an immediately to the sex part type of story, this won't be for you. It seems we might need to wait a little bit before we get spoiled with that. But waiting is good, right? It will be even more exciting when that sort of thing comes. Next, we have AVLA. AVLA is an ongoing manhwa written by Rangi and illustrated by Gomdori. First released in 2021, and it has been published and serialized by BANTU. Tells a story about Lee Sang-hee is a 25 years old ordinary college student who has secret that he can't tell anyone that he is Bideru, a porn star who made it to the headline a few years ago. Sang-hee even bought his own porn DVD just to hide his dark past. And one day, he got into an accident after getting into a stray man's car and meeting that man for a deal. Everything going well not until he was left with no choice but to get back into porn with the guy involved in the accident to pay off his debt. In position number 6 we have Anti-PT. Tells a story about a charming young man with a job at one of the top firms in Korea. Param is a catch by everyone's standards. However, he has a couple secret that could topple his hard-won elite status. Param is a guy and has an oversensitive body that gets turned on at the slightest touch. So far, he's caught by hitting his crush on his boss and taking care of emergencies in the office bedroom. But one day, he's caught red-handed by the new personal trainer at the company gym. Will this hot smirking joke ruin Param's life, or turn out to be his remedy? To be honest, it's a good plot that I haven't come across yet. The art style is also nice, and it doesn't deter me from reading a decent manga the way it does for certain people. Who is a sweet figure who everyone should have as a boyfriend, but the CEO is trash. He also treats his boyfriend the way no one should be treated like. The CEO kinda of ruined the story, but a good bump in the road. Totally recommend. Next, we have Kabukicho Bad Trip. Story about Toru Miyama is the king of all hosts in Kabukicho. And not only does he have drop-dead looks, but he can also read people's minds. On his day off, he happened to bump into Mizuki Hikawa, a stunning Malay model that he secretly adores. Toru decides to read Mizuki talk and he finds out that he is really into S&M. It's clear-cut that Mizuki wants to dominate Toru, but getting into S&M is not as simple as he thinks. Mizuki only deserves a partner that's truly into it, and he is willing to put Toru to the test to find out if he makes the cut. Anyway, this is manga and not a triangle love, but I would like to recommend you this because this manga really has a unique storyline. The character has somewhat developed personalities, though I will say main character is willing to please Malay lead in any way more readily than I would have feel comfortable with. But it's still a pretty healthy relationship. Malay lead is a person who is mindful of other needs. Overall, it was a highly enjoying read for me, great face expression and an adorable journey in the relationship. Should you read this? If you like Bdsm, why not? Next, we have Back to School. Tells a story about Chiwo got issues upon returning to school after the incident last year. He vowed to keep to himself and stay out of the trouble until graduation. Easier said than done, his bad boy reputation has made him the talk of the school, and Kyujin class president and model student won't stop being friendly. Trouble arrives soon enough in the shape of Jihyun, a tattoo hung from Chiu dark past. It's gonna be a tough year. This manhwa addresses stalker's behavior, abusive relationship, gaslighting, and rape in the context of Chiwoo and Jihyun relationship. The thing I love about this manhwa is that Orion Nim stands firm and passes clearly that this behavior is unacceptable. The abuse and trauma are handled in this manhwa in appropriate manner too. Also, every one of the characters is really well developed. Totally recommend. Next, we have the Wilting Light. What lies in the worlds beyond our own? Is it a bright light and the nothingness? Or is it another land populated with gorgeous beauty and eldritch horror beyond our recognition? General Huen falls in battle, leaving behind his spoken love and a life unlived and awakened in the forest. Malevolent spirits and demons flee for his life until a handsome goblin wicks him away to the goblin village and into the court of the Goblin King. Whatever life may exist in the beyond, that is the only beginning. There might be not much species seen, but if you are a fan of recognition and historical fantasy, I would highly recommend this manhwa. The story is good and the art is really beautiful. This manhwa has been on hiatus for so long and I hope the other will continue soon. Overall, this was a very entertaining read, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Next, we have From Point of View. Tells a story about Jisoo is quiet, unassuming, observant. He is sweet to work behind the camera, but for reason he is not exactly quick to disclose. He is run into some debt. Well, Haejo, an actor he's worked with before, proposed he work with him exclusively on a private project of his shooting himself and his partner having sex. Jisoo thought he was here for his camera skills, but Haejo seems to know an awful lot about him and he can't help but wonder why he really hired him. At first, it was just a lot of toxicity, but then came character development. There were times I want to drop it, but I'm glad I didn't. It made me go through a roller coaster of emotion. I actually like the side couple more than the main. The side story was also safe kiss. If you find the main story to be just too much for you, I would definitely recommend reading the side story. In position number 1, we have Stake of the Dark Soul. There's an old rumor about the Scriven mentioned that a dark devil will one day come to take away the beautiful master of the house. It seems to be nothing more than fanciful thinking. But how does that explain the change that Michel brings when he bursts into the Scriven brother life? The devil will find what Evan and Victor Scriven desire. Even if they desperately try to suppress those urges, they say the words take what will play this dark soul innate. The amazing art and twisted story are great. The character make you love and hate them, and the ending is truly a roller coaster of feeling. And my only issue is that the ending is not what I would have liked, but
I definitely recommend this manga for anyone wanting to spend a few hours of their life reading this game.